Hello everyone, mostly for cadet, for ratings, and for junior engineer. This moment I would like to explain about heat exchangers. I'm sure that it's very important for cadet or for the ratings because what I want to explain is basic. So if you understood about the basic, it's not difficult to grow or to know for the updating next. Heat exchanger is the measuring component that is used for heat exchange process, heat exchange process between the processed media or processed material and the processing material or processing media. So in every uh, heat exchanger, there are two pair of material, the processing material and the processed material. For example, if one pair is lubricating oil and the other pair is maybe steam or maybe uh, seawater, depend of this function of the heat exchangers. Okay, before we continue about what is the heat exchanger, I would like to explain to you the definitions or the understanding of heat. What is the heat? Is heat is same with hot? I want to give you information that the heat is the form of energy, such as electric energy or electric power, hydraulic energy or hydraulic power, and also for as such as the mechanical energy or mechanical power. Heat is energy, and hot as the result condition uh, by the heat. Yeah, it's very easy to know about the differences between heat and hot as we know about the uh, its units. The units of heat because it is energy. The unit is watt or kilowatt or horsepower. But if we know hot, the units of hot is maybe degree Celsius, maybe degree Fahrenheit, maybe degree Reaumur or degree Kelvin. You know? And one important thing that you must know that heat as the form of the energy, uh, heat can move from the medium that have higher temperature to the medium that have lower temperature. As you can see to this picture, uh, the flow of heat from the higher temperature to the lower temperature. Yeah. So heat as the energy flows or moves from the medium with a higher temperature to the medium with a lower temperature. There are two experiences uh, that uh, for the material or the medium left by heat. Firstly, that material to take heat without changing physical form. So the function of heat that is only for the change the temperature, not for changing the form. For example, if you have water and then left by the heat, so you can find the condition of water is still form of water, but the temperature will be decreased. And then in that process is called sensible process. So the heat is also called as the sensible heat. The function as heat only for changing the temperature, not changing the form, the changing the physical form. And the second, uh, alternatively, that material taking heat by changing physical form without changing the temperature. For example, if you have steam and then you taking out its heat, so the temperature is kept same, but the physical form change from uh, steam become water, become liquid. So the functions of heat in this case is for changing the physical form without changing the temperature. And this process is called latent process. So the heat is also called as the latent heat. Same for the next material that will be entering by the uh, heat. There are two experiences. Firstly, providing heat without changing physical form. So if you have water and then providing heat is still water, but temperature will be increased from cool to heat to hot. Uh, this process is called sensible heat, sensible process, and the heat is called sensible heat. And the second process is called latent heat, which the material only change the uh, physical form without change of temperature. So temperature is still same, but the physical form is changed. For example, water become steam. but along the water is still changed to, as far as water is still in process changing to the steam, the temperature is still is keep same. Well, so that is heat. Okay, we are going to next page. That according or based to our explanation, we can uh, we can make two group of heat exchanger. First group is heat exchanger which giving heat, and the secondly the group of heat exchanger to take heat. And as we have explained before, that giving heat is also two kind. Giving heat without changing the physical form, and giving heat by changing the physical form. For heat exchanger, who which giving heat without changing physical form, result the process that called heating process, so that the heat exchanger is called heater. And for heat exchanger to provide heat by changing physical form, resulted the process that called evaporation. So the heat exchanger is namely as evaporator. So now we know about two heat exchanger. First is heater and two is evaporator. Both heat exchanger, both of kind of exchanger, have a function for giving the heat. The first one without changing the physical form, and the second one giving heat by changing the physical form. Yeah. So we go to the next heat exchangers, that to take heat is also two kind of that heat exchanger. Firstly, heat exchanger to take heat or taking heat without changing the physical form, resulted the process of cooling, so that the exchanger called as the cooler. And for the next or the last one, heat exchanger to take heat by changing the physical form, resulting the process of condensation. So the heat exchanger is called as condenser. So now we have known about four kind of heat exchanger: heater, evaporator, cooler, and condenser. You can try to ask to yourself what is the simile between force of this heat exchanger, and what is the difference between heater and evaporator, between evaporator and condenser, etc., etc. I know, I believe that you will know well about this. So we can continue the explanation. There are two processes that occur as series, beginning from evaporation process which need the component of evaporator, continue to the condensation process, which need the component of condenser. Yeah? We find the process, series process, beginning from evaporation process that need evaporator, continue to the next process that is called condensation, which needs condenser. The Booth process, the Booth series process resulted the new process that's called distillation. Because distillation is need both evaporator and condenser, so the distillation is a form of unit or installation. It's called the unit of distiller. So distiller is content or beginning from evaporation, continue to condensation. Resulted the process distillation. And for the distillation, we need two main components, evaporator and condenser. Okay, for the first part, the part number one, I will only giving you the information about uh, what is the heat exchangers and type of heat exchangers, review or based on its function on board ship. Firstly, heater. And for the part two, I will give you next or then uh, the type of heat exchanger, review for review of base of construction and how to operate it. So in this part one, I just only giving you the information about the basic knowledge of what is the definitions of heat exchangers and the kind of heat exchanger, review of function on the ship. First, heater. Heater, we can find the heater as the fuel oil heater, freshwater heater, seawater heater, lubricating oil heater, and air heater, and maybe and so on. The next, I will give the application of this matter of heater. And for evaporator, based on the function on the ship, we can find in steam boiler as the water changer from water to become steam, but still in saturated steam, not superheated steam. And secondly, we can find evaporator and the freshwater generator or freshwater distiller. And the third, we can find such evaporator in the refrigeration system on board, changing the liquid refrigerant into refrigerant gas. So, and the next, cooler, also review of the function on board ship. We can find cooler in freshwater cooler, air cooler, lubricating oil cooler, and the second refrigerant cooler. And the last is condenser. Condenser we can find in the freshwater generator system, freshwater distiller system, uh, either high pressure freshwater distiller or low pressure freshwater distiller. And the second, we also can find condenser in the steam engine installation, maybe in turbine, a steam turbine. We can find many kind of condenser. Uh, if started or mainly for main condenser or auxiliary condenser. And the last is condenser that we find in refrigerant plant on board ship, refrigerant installation on board ship for converting refrigerant gas into the liquid refrigeration. Okay, cadet and junior engineer as well for instructor. Thank you very much for your attention. We meet at the part number 2 of heat exchanger. Bye.